Okay, so for step 1, we're going to need pieces D, C, B, and A, and 8 screws. Now I've already screwed piece C on, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to screw the other pieces together. We definitely want to use a Phillips head screwdriver, and be careful not to use any power tools. This is a toy, and if you use any power tools, you can damage the wood. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put piece A on. We're just going to line up the holes, like so. And you want to drop the screws in to the hole that has the wider opening, the round hole. Oops, sorry. Line up the holes. And get our Phillips head screwdriver and just screw it in. Again, being careful not to over tighten the screws. As soon as you feel any kind of resistance, you're going to stop like that, okay? And then we'll line up the next piece and drop that in.
What are you doing?
Okay. And that's the end. Okay, so now we're going to put piece B in. This is piece B, and there's 2 of piece B. So we're just going to slide it in between the other 2 pieces, line up our holes, and then we'll put it in our screw S. And there's just one, actually, see, I put it on the wrong way. There's just one hole on this piece. So we're going to just put it right in and line it up. Okay, so the last step in step 1 is to put the screws in the back piece to hold the 2 sides together. So this is step number 1 complete. Okay, so now we're ready for step number 2. For step number 2, we need the piece that we completed in step 1. We need E and F, which are these side pieces. We need V, which is the hanging rod. And we need G. And each piece is clearly marked with a little letter. And we also need our screws. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to line up our pieces. The side pieces have the hanging rod and also the slot for the back of the cabinet. So we're going to put piece E on this side, and we're going to line up our holes and screw in 2 screws. Now you want to remember that when you're putting your pieces together, the screws are always going to be dropped into the holes on the larger side. So that's how you know which way to face your pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 screws in here. I'm going to put the next piece on, but when I put this side on, I'm going to be careful not to tighten it too much because we have to put in our hanging rod. So what I'm going to do is just put in the top screw first and not tighten it all the way, and then I'll put in the hanging rod. Okay, so now I'm going to put in the hanging rod, and that's going to go right into these 2 holes. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the screw in the bottom. And the last piece in this step is to put in piece G. Okay, this piece is going to just slide right in. And then we'll get our screws to secure it. Okay, step number 3 is just to slide piece H into the back of the armoire, and we're going to put the Wish logo on the outside. So it just goes in to the little grooves. Line them up and slide it in. Okay, step 4, you're going to need piece I, which is going to be the bottom of the armoire. And we're going to need 4 more of the long screws. We're still using screw S, which is the longest one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this piece is going to go on with the groove. It's going to slide into the groove of the back piece like this. And then we're going to screw it on. We need to lift it up a little bit for this. Slide into place. And then we're going to put our screws in. Okay, so for step number 5, we're going to need L, K, and the 2 J's along with our S screws that we're still using. Okay? And we're going to put it together. We're just going to screw all our little pieces in. Each side is going to get 2 screws on the front and on the back. So let's start with this side. We're going to line them up again, remembering that our screws are always going to be dropped into the larger openings, so we know which way to face it. We wouldn't want to put it this way. Okay, so it's going to go this way. We're going to line up our holes, drop our screw in. and screw it together. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing with all 4 corners. They're going to go like this. Okay, step 6, we're going to connect the 2 pieces that we've actually already finished, which is our base and our cabinet. These little blocks are going to line up with these little holes here on the cabinet. This is the ornate side, so that's going to go in the front. Okay. We're going to get our long screws, drop them in, and line them up. So now we're up to step number 7, and then we're going to put the doors on. We need 2 doors, and we need the little tiny U-screws for the door hinges. We want them to open properly, and we need the magnet to hit the magnet thing here. So this door is going to go on this side, and this door is going to go on this side. So for this step, I'm going to use a smaller Phillips head screwdriver because these little tiny screws are very teeny tiny. These screws are a little trickier because they're teeny tiny. I'm going to put a couple in and then I'm going to tighten it afterwards. So we screwed on both doors, all the hinges, and there you go. The inside, the little magnetic strip up top. Okay, now we're ready for step 8, and this is the drawer we're going to put together. So we need pieces N, P, and the 2 O pieces, which are marked. And we're going to line them up with the slats on the bottom, because that's where we're going to slide in the drawer. Okay, so I'm going to put these pieces together, and I'm going to start with N and O, remembering that the larger holes go on the outside, because that's where the screws are going to get dropped in. Okay, and then I'm going to put the other side on, which is P, and that's going to go on like this. Okay, now we're ready for our bottom of the drawer, which is piece Q, and it's the same on both sides, so it doesn't really matter. We're going to line it up with our little holes and grooves, and we're going to slide it into place. Once this piece is in, we can then attach O. And there we go. Make sure it's all lined up properly. Perfect. And then we'll take O and slide that over. And put in our last screws. Okay, so that was step number 8, and now all we need to do is put our pretty little knobs on the drawer, and we're done. And there are 2 screws in the size T, which is the middle size, and there was only 2 of those, so we know they're the right ones. And they're going to go on the inside of the drawer. There are the larger holes. We're going to put the screw through and right into the knob. I like to twist the knob on a little bit to get it started. Okay, so that was the last step. We just have to slide our drawer into place, and we have our beautiful armoire. There's our finished product.